Hello, Chip GT here, and in the last video we selected the VR headset, we set up Steam VR, we got VPX VR up and running, and we configured a few settings to get the very first table working. In this video, we are going to get the Pinup Popper VR front end up and running so that you can freely choose between all of your VR tables without having to go back and forth between your headset and your desktop. This video will get very technical, so if you are following along, I broke this down into different steps so that you can pause if needed, or if you need to come back at a later time, you can quickly get back to the next step where you left off. So without any further delay, get ready for a long play, let's coin in and push that start button. Popper VR works in the Pinup system environment and uses Steam VR. Before you install Popper VR, you need to make sure that you have the VPX VR up and working and that it is 100% set up the way that you like it with all the features you want. If you're not at this point, then please take a look back at my previous video there's a link down in the description so that you can get this set up. If you followed my last video and installed the VPX version 10.8 beta number 5, we need to change the name of the VPX GL file in order to make setting up a script a little bit later on easier. So let's go ahead and we'll navigate over to the Pinball folder, and inside of here you're going to click the visual pinball folder, and we're just going to scroll all the way down to where we see VPX GL64, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete the 64 and push enter. That's it. If you want to run the 32-bit or the 64-bit in your setup, you can do that. Just know that when you go to use the script and when you're installing the script and putting it into the emulator, that you're going to have to change the name of the Pinball GL. You're going to have to put either 64 or 86 respectively for the version that you want to use. More on that in just a little bit. For now, let's go ahead and we will hop over to the Pinup system webpage right there. I provided you with links in the description so that you can quickly get to these web pages, and once you get here you want to scroll down, and if you're curious about how I went about doing my install, I followed these videos. There is a little bit of tweaking that you'll have to do if you follow these. If you followed my last video, we've already set up a lot of this. Alright, so for now we're just going to click right here, we're going to download the Popper VR, and just a forewarning, when you go to install Popper VR, there is a very high probability that you are going to lose a lot of your Popper settings. So before we go any further, I highly recommend that you come over to your Pinup folder, go to your Pinup Popper config tool right there, and it'll come up like this. Click on the Popper setup, and let's make a backup of your database just like this. And then down here we will go to where that is saved. So back up, there's the save file right there, and I'm just gonna drag this to my desktop so that we don't lose it, so that it doesn't get overwritten or anything else. All right, once you have it downloaded right here, you want to right click on it and select properties, and you want to unblock it. It is very important that it is unblocked, otherwise this is not going to work right for you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close the Pinup Popper setup tool there, and we're going to open up the zip file. And now what you want to do is you want to navigate to your Pinup system into the root directory. So whenever you hear me say the root directory of the Pinup system folder, that is, no kidding, just the Pinup system folder. And what we're going to do is we are going to copy all of these files, drag them over, and just drop them down into here. All right, that's all you got to do to copy over the new Popper. And once that has taken, you may get a pop-up window that says, replace the following. You're going to select yes. And now we're going to go back, because we just installed a new version of Popper with the VR tools. You're going to find that your hotkeys that you configured have changed back to the normal default. So we're going to go to the config tool. We're going to go back over here, controller setup, and then, yep, sure enough, right there, my right arrow, this went back to the right arrow, and I want this to be right shift, and I want this one to be left shift. So now this is set up for my flippers, and I'll just, everything else I think is fine for my setup. Escape is my exit as always, and then to start a table, it should be key number 1. Yep. All right, so there's the key features there. We're going to go ahead and exit out of that. Now, for this next piece, depending on your setup and your configuration, Popper can be set up in a bunch of different ways. And if you installed the Baller installer for a 3-monitor display on one display, you know, you're going to have to make some changes to how Popper is configured. Otherwise, it's not going to look right when you go into Pinup Popper VR. It's going to be all kind of screwed up. So what we want to do now is we want to go and find the configuration and the setup for what you have. Like if you have a 3-monitor cabinet like what I've got over here, you should be fine. If you are using a desktop, like I'm using my experimental computer right now, which is a single monitor and the PC, and I hook up my VR headset to it, I have to go in there and I have to set up Pinup Popper for desktop mode. And what we're going to do is we are going to go over here to the web page for themes. All right, and in here you will see a whole bunch of different settings. These are more for when you're having a cabinet mode. I need to set up mine for the desktop. All right, and I like having the arc. I don't really like the bar, I like the arc. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down here to the desktop mode, and I have a 4K monitor, so I'm going to select the T-Arc desktop 4K theme, and I'm just going to click download. And if you do not have a 4K and you have a 1080p, then you'll come down here and you'll click on this one right here. All right, so arc is for the arc, bar is for the bar, 4K 1080p. And you're just going to open up, oops, I forgot, critical step. You want to come in here, properties, unblock, and you're going to open it up. And for this T-Arc, we are going to copy this directly into the root folder of your Pinup system. So if you see, I already have it here, and you just drag, drop, paste it down in there. And then once it has copied over, you're just going to come down here and double click install theme. That's it. That's all you got to do. And it's set up. Next, we're going to install a new emulator in Popper. So we're going to come back over here to the Pinup Popper setup, and we're going to click on emulators. Here's a zoomed in view of that. So I've already got my Visual Pinball VR set up, but I'm going to set up a new one just so you can see how it's done. First, we're going to click on this little plus button, and we're going to give this a name, and you can call it VPX VR. For the description, I'm going to say VPX VR, VPX VR. And then for this is the executable for where the Visual Pinball application is located. So you want to click on the box, and I'm going to give you a desktop view so that you can see what I'm doing here. So inside this box, we are navigating to Visual Pinball, and this is where our table is, or this is where the application is at. And just to show you that, we go to Visual Pinball, scroll down, there it is right there. Okay, it's not going to show all the files in here. We just want to navigate to the file. So there's that. For the games folder, this is where we set up our table last time. So if you remember, we have a VR tables library right there. So we'll select that. And then this is going to be VPX because that's the file name. We don't need to worry about the ROMs, but we do need to create a media folder. So let's go over here. It should bring up the Popper Pinup System media. And as you can see, I've already set up a Visual Pinball VR, but for the sake of helping you guys out, I'm going to hit File, New, and we're just going to call this VPX VR. We'll hit Enter, we select it and hit Select. and it's going to say, hey, this isn't set up correctly. Do you want me to set it up for you? And you can say yes. There we go. All right, now I'm going to push the little checkbox to make sure that we have that saved. And I'm going to talk quickly about the launch setup. So the reason why this video is late and the reason why I've been having such a hard time is because of these launch scripts and close scripts. And what we first need to do is we need to go back to the web page. And in here, there is a link right here for how to set up the emulator in Popper. So you're just going to click on that link right below where we were. And that takes us here. This is the script code that you're going to put in there. There's 4 different options. Option 1 allows you to have hotkeys, and if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that the hotkeys allow you to turn certain features on and off depending on the need for your table and the configuration of the table within Popper. So this is like special settings that you can set, such as disabling the B2S, using the external DMD, using the pup packs. You can turn these features on and off inside of Popper. Now, I will say this. Option 1 did not work for me. I've tried for a long time, and it would crash on me, or it would load and it would still play the loading video in the background while I was playing the table. It got kind of annoying. And then when I tried to exit, it would crash. So option 1, if it works for you, wonderful, but it did not work for me. And all you've got to do is you just copy. There's a little icon here. You can just click copy to your clipboard, and then you just paste it in here to your script if that's what you want to go with. I couldn't get option 1 to work, so I'm not using option 1. This is the closed script, and you need to put the closed script in the closed script section. So if I minimize here is your closed script. So you need a launch and a close. And option 2 allows you to launch it without using the hotkeys. This worked for me just fine, and it kind of allows it to hibernate. So this option works fine for me for option 2. I also got option 3 to work for me. This is specifically closing and then relaunching Popper VR between runs. So option 2 makes it hibernate, or just sleeps, and it waits for you to exit out of a table. Option 3 completely closes it and then relaunches it when you go to exit a table. I got option 3 worked the best for me. Option 2 worked fairly well for me, but I would still have a couple of hiccups and hangups where it would back completely out. Option 4 is really not for what we're using. Option 4 is if you're using something other than Steam VR as your OpenXR driver. I didn't even mess with this. So option 3 worked the best for me. Option 2 worked for me. Option 1 did not work for me. So just to have you follow along, I'm just going to copy the launch script and paste it here. There it is. And then we'll go back to the web page and we'll copy option 3 close script. And then come down here and paste. All right. Now, with this, if you are going to use something other than the like if you're not going to use the file change that we did, you have to come in here and you have to change the script so that it is specific to the version of VPX GL that you're using. See how there's not a 64 here behind here? You would have to add the 64 or 86 right here in the script, and then you want to save it. All right, now our emulator is all set up and we can start talking about getting some games. For this next part, I'm going to show you how to get some VR tables. And if you already know how to get tables and you are fully aware how to get these things, please skip to the next section where we talk about getting them added into the emulator software so that you don't have to worry about where do I find my ROMs, my colorized DMDs, things like that. If you already know how to do that, skip to the next section. So I spent some time getting my games files up and running, and inside of Visual Pinball you will see that I have my VR tables here, and I've got a lot of VR tables. And I've had some people in the comments say, hey, where do I find some of these tables that work in VR? Well, all you got to do is navigate over to the VP Universe webpage right here, and you're going to want to log in or create an account. Make sure you create an account because that's the best way to get your downloads. Otherwise, you're going to be limited to only a few downloads a day. If you create an account, log in, you're going to have like 14 or 15 files that you can download in a day from the VPX webpage. And then you want to click on Tools, or just hover above it, and go to the Virtual Pinball spreadsheet. This lists thousands of tables, all right? And in here, we can actually create a custom filter for VR. And out of the like thousands of tables that are on here, when we select VR, oops, I didn't select it. But when you select VR, it gives you a list of 456 tables that are in VR, okay? This will give you all the various different tables that have been made, but inside of here, there's going to be a bunch of different versions of this particular table. So just as an example, this is brand new as of this morning, is this Gilligan's Island, and it says that it has a VR mode, so I'll click on it. And in here, you'll see there's the first version of the table, the second version of the table. This one has VR, so all I'm going to do is click it. It takes me right to the page, and I'm going to download the file. And while that's going, I'm going to go back to this page because I'm not sure if this has a ROM. It looks like it does. So here is the ROM number right there. You just click on that one, that link. And here I am. I'm going to log in here on the VP forums for this ROM. And I'll click download, agree to download. And while that's going, I'm going to come back here. There's an alternate color for the DMD. So if I want to get that, I can click here. And sure, why not? The PALs seem to work best for me, but I'll also get the VNI. And while that's going, I'm going to come back here. Now, if you're using VPX 10.8, there are now point of views that you can use. There's some wheel art here, some topper stuff here if you want to get some of that. I find my wheel art in a different way from most people, but if I wanted to use a B2S file, like here's one for a full DMD that would be kind of cool. So I'll click on this one. And this is what that one would look like if you have a regular pinball cabinet. So I'll just click download, and I will download that one. All right, while those are downloading, I'll refile or redo my table here. Well, I want Gilligan's Island finally got done downloading. I'm just going to drag and drop and carry it over. And what I want to do is I'm copying this into my VR tables directory, but it's also set up to work as a regular just table without VR. So I'm going to also copy it, and I'm going to put it in my regular tables directory because it'll also work as a regular file. Going to reload here, make sure we get the ROM. All right, we got the alternate color DMDs, so I'll come back over here to Visual Pinball, and I'm gonna go Visual Pinball, Pinball MAME, alt color, and it said the name of the ROM on the page, so I created a new folder. The ROM's name is GI_L9, I think. If you're unsure, you just copy it there. And then we'll come over here to this new folder, paste it, there it is. And then I'm just gonna copy the PAL over, just like that. And then we also have the B2S file is now done. So I'm going to unzip that, come over here to tables, and we'll paste it in here. Sorry, we will paste it right here. So we want to copy the name of Gilligan's Isle there, and we can paste it here. I like making mine exactly the same. And then now that I have that copied, we're going to copy it, and we're also going to paste it into the VR tables directory right there. Now, for the VR version of this, we want to go into the script and we want to, oh wait, I don't have the ROM yet, do I? I'm going to re-download the ROM because it seems to be having a hard time downloading that, or I forgot to click it. Okay, and then the last thing we need to put in there is the ROM. We can just leave this zipped, but we're going to go over here to VPX, and we're going to go to PinMain, and we're going to scroll down to ROMs, and we're just going to drag and drop that right in there. All right, now I think that we have copied everything over to these folders correctly. So we're going to go ahead and we'll close those down. I'm going to close that down. We're going to leave the emulator up for now. But what we want to do now, we want to launch VPX VR, which is right here. And I'm not going to tell it to load a table. I just want it to load VPX VR. And we're going to launch. Well, actually, we'll open up that brand new table. Oops. So if it doesn't open, or if it navigates to your old table folder, make sure you go back and then go to your VR table folder. Here's Gilligan's Island, and we're going to open it. And the reason I don't want it to launch it right away is I want to come in here into the script. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to launch the script. And if your script doesn't come up right away, come down here, right click on the windows here, like it pull up the windows, and then right click on this and hit maximize, and it'll bring it back up. It's a resize issue. So inside the script here, we've got our VR options right here. And for the VR room choice, this is your room and your environment. I like having the best of the best that you can get because I have a graphics card that can support it. If you find that you are having some lag or you experience lag in your VR room, try switching it up to a minimalist room. There also is another one here called pass-through sphere room. I've never heard of that one before. That's new. I'll have to check that one out. And then you can also change your DMD reflections to see reflections off the glass. I always leave this to 0. It's just a distraction. It's supposed to add realism, but it really takes up some GPU real estate, so I'm going to turn that off for now. If you're happy with your settings, you're just going to close the script and then hit File, Save. And it will save it. And now we're done. So that table is for the most part set up, with the exception of not having the colorized DMD. We will do the colorized DMD later. All right. So now we are done with the emulator. We can close that down. And we want to now go over to the game manager. So we're going to click on game manager. And then we're going to do add new games. And now we've got our new emulator right here that we can filter by and hit scan, and it found all of my games. For now, I'm just going to load Gilligan's Island. So I'll hit add new game. One new game added. Then we'll close that. And then under playlist, if you want to create a VP VR playlist, you can. You're just going to hit add new playlist, and you can name it whatever you want. I've already got my playlist right here, so I'm just going to add Gilligan's Island to it. There we go. Once it's in there, you can close that. And now I'm going to go to the media manager. Sorry, I'll bring that over. Here's Gilligan's Island. And in here, all I'm really looking for is a wheel image. If you want to have a backglass image, you can as well. If you want to have a playfield image, you can as well. I'm playing it on a desktop configuration. If you're really curious about how to get some better looking artwork, I'll have a link to another video that I did not too long ago about how to get some good looking artwork. But all I'm going to do for now is just kind of look for a wheel image that I can identify as being Gilligan's Island. Yeah, that works. And that's all I'm going to care about for now. Once I'm done with that, we're going to hit exit setup, and now we have a new table. We have the emulator set up and everything is ready to go. So now we're at a point where we're ready to get the VR headset connected to the computer, launch the Oculus application on the PC. In the headset, we're going to link the headset to the PC, launch Steam VR, and then we're going to launch Popper. And then once you get to that point, that is where we're going to pick up this next video. If you're not sure how to get everything connected, check out my previous video for Pinball VPR VX and come back to this point and we will be ready to go. So now I'm at a point where I'm ready to launch Popper. I'm going to try to give you guys a good point of view so you can see this. And unfortunately, you're going to be seeing my whole desktop, including OBS and everything, just so that I can show you this next piece in Popper. So with the headset off, like I have it on, but it's connected and everything, I'm ready to go. Here's my main view, and now I'm going to launch Popper. And it's going to look a little funny because I have a widescreen. And what you want to do is you want to push the O key, which is your operator's menu, and you want to navigate down to custom scripts. From here, you're going to hit the VR mode toggle. This is like a light switch. When I turn this on, everything is going to be on in my headset. Okay. All right, now I am up and I am on my Popper configuration for my table. And I can come over here. Here is VPX VR. So I'll go ahead and hit launch on that. Here's AC/DC. Let's go ahead and we'll navigate to where I put Gilligan's Island. There it is. Okay. So the reason why on my headset view you are seeing a really squished screen right now is because mine is an ultra wide cabinet and Popper VR doesn't like that for what I'm currently doing. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to launch Gilligan's Island.
I am now loading up the game.
By pushing the launch button, which is also the 1 key. And then on the headset, and I've noticed this with the Quest headset, it's going to come up and ask you to reset your view. I just close that by pushing the meta button. And there I am. And now I'm in my VR table. There's Gilligan's Island. I've got the rules over here on the side in this room. This is kind of like a basic Gilligan's Island room, but it's got information over here on the left side about the table and the flyer for it. And you can see that the backglass file kind of looks a little goofy, but that's because it's taking an image for the DMD, and hopefully it'll pop up here in a second. But let's take a second to just kind of look at the table. It looks really good. The audio sounds pretty good. And then we have our rules over here. So let's go ahead and we'll give it a play. So push the 5 key. All right, so now I'm in it. And for this field of view, right now what I see at the bottom of my glasses, for this field of view, what I see at the bottom of my headset is the lockdown bar, and if I look up with my eyeballs, I can see the top of the DMD. And this looks pretty good. I've never played this table before, so this is going to be a fun one to give a try too. And there it is. Now, the reason why I can't see the DMD right now is I probably have that full screen DMD set up. And I probably need to get rid of that B2S file, and then I'd be able to see the DMD completely. That's pretty cool. This table looks really crisp. I wonder if it's in 4K. I didn't do a whole lot of research on the table when I loaded it, but it looks really good. I mean, I can see the wireforms. I can read the instruction cards down here. But what's nice about this room is it puts the instruction cards right there to make it easier to see. I have no idea what's going on, what's happening in this table. I'm trying to keep my head as still as I can so that you guys can see this, but it's kind of hard. I'm trying to give you the best view as I can, knowing from the last video it really wasn't the best. Oh, that is so cool. Pretty cool table. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this one. I know the DMD isn't working, and I'm pretty sure it's because of the B2S file. If I disable the B2S file, it'll be fine. So I'm going to exit back, and you'll see the Unity screen flash on the headset for a moment. And we should be right back at our table. Now, I am sitting down, so this point of view is from me sitting. If I were standing, it would look like I was at a real pinball machine. But what I can do with, I just picked up my Quest right controller, and with this, if I push a button, I can come in here. If I have different VR rooms, I can switch them up. I can say, you know, let me have free roam over the room, take me to my home position. I can change the lighting in the room. You know, I've got walk around turned on. So if I'll just go back to the home position, but if I wanted to move over there, I could move over there. If I wanted to roam around the room and look around and interact with different things, like anything that lights up, I can interact with. Even this arcade machine. So this arcade machine, if you have PinMAME set up, and you use your wand here and your beam, and you click on it, you can launch PinMAME and play PinMAME games from here, or you can do it from here. It doesn't matter, however you want to do it. I'm going to put the controller down now. Go away, you. And we will launch another table. So here's one that I like.
Please wait.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
I am now loading up the game. Have fun.
And again, it's gonna kick me back to the Steam VR. Do I want to reset my view? I click no and just click the meta button. And here I am. I'm gonna look straight ahead. See how I'm off? It's because I was looking to the side. Push number pad 5. Boom. I'm right back where I need to be. This room doesn't have all the gizmos and gadgets on the side walls, and that's fine. I'm just looking to play some VR pinball, so I'll coin in. And yeah, I haven't really played this table that much. I don't know the various rules for it.
Ooh, it's a skill shot.
Totally intentionally meant to do that skill shot. I totally knew what I was doing for that. If you can tell, I was lying. But yeah, this table looks good. Everything's working. And not knowing how to play this table, I suck at it. And I'm gonna go ahead and
skill shot.
Yeah, I did. Before we end it, I'm going to end it. Since we're in the virtual reality world, I think we should end it with a virtual table or a virtual theme. We're going to do Tron. Now, in the Tron file, you can change the general illumination from being white lights to being blue lights, and I think the blue lights look amazing. You can configure a ton of different settings in this Tron table, and it just looks so freaking good. It's gonna be a little loud here for a second. And I've got my stick ready to say go away. There we go. So I have actually got the lights for the ramps turned up to their maximum brightness, and then I changed the general illumination from white to blue, so this should be really, really slick.
The grid. A digital frontier. Built the system.
Alright, so I do notice that the pup pack is not running. So that is something that I'll have to troubleshoot. I just got all these tables kind of in general running. There's probably a pup pack setting that I have to change in order to get the pup pack to work right. But this looks just so good. And I figured we'd end here with this.
Assessed.
And I also have the ROM muted for the pup back so that it plays real music from the movie. And so that I don't get copyrighted. You know, I have the music off, but you know, we'll see what happens. And there's a lot on this table. My friend Mark has this. It's one of his favorites. And this table has a lot going on. It's really cool. So I got the color DMD working, but the pup pack is not working. And I'll have to figure out why the pup pack isn't working. But this gives you an idea. Oh, I also see the side blades are like way through the cabinet here. I'll have to figure out why the side blades are that high. It might be that I have side blades turned on. I might have to turn them off in order to get a better view for this VR cabinet. So like I said, in the scripts you really need to change some settings. I'm gonna go ahead and exit, and I'm gonna show you how to exit. So in order to turn off everything so that it shuts down properly, because you can't just go and disconnect your headset and turn it off without screwing something up. You want to hit exit, and this will take us back to Popper. And then I'm going to pull my headset up just a little bit, and I'm going to hit the operator menu and come down to custom scripts, and I'm going to toggle VR mode off. All right, now with it off, I shouldn't see anything in the headset. It's showing me Steam VR. It's taking me back to Steam VR in the headset. And I'm just going to hit the exit key again, exit Steam, or exit Popper, and I have completely turned everything off properly. Now I can go into the headset and disconnect myself from the computer. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to hit quit app, and then I'm going to hit disable quest link, disable. All right. It's important that you follow those steps, because if you don't do that, I have found over the course of the last few days, if you don't do it in the right way, you're going to have to either reboot your computer, you're going to have to reboot your headset. It just causes a pain. There's a startup sequence, and then there's a shutdown sequence. There are settings that you can go in to make this all automated, and if you go to the wiki page for Nailbuster's webpage, you can see all that. It's all there, and if you want to configure that, you can. For now though, I think that wraps up this video. If you guys learned something, please give me a like, please subscribe, share this out with your friends. This really does help the channel to grow, and I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break from doing some of these VR videos for now. When I come back from Cincinnati at the middle of December timeframe, I'm going to try to go down the rabbit hole of getting the VR set up and configured properly for future pinball, so that we can also have future pinball tables and have them in VR. But that's going to be after Cincinnati. I need to focus the next few weeks on getting prepared for Cincinnati and getting this cabinet, new tables and new artwork, and really testing it out to make sure that I don't have any issues. I need to make a backup drive of it just in case anything does go down. I can restore it. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time on that the rest of this month, and I'll probably do a live stream in the next week or two, just so like as I'm going through it, you guys can ask me questions. So if you're interested in doing that, I will post on the community page when I do a live stream, and I will say, hey, live stream is coming soon, and then we'll do the live stream and you guys can ask me your questions while I troubleshoot my cabinet. So thank you everyone for watching this. I'll see you in the next one.